A lot of people see the mission as changing if Homan's going to be taking over for Greg Bovino there in Minneapolis. I don't think that's the case. I think ICE is going to do exactly what ICE does, and it should continue to do so, including arresting those people who are engaged in endangering ICE agents. You don't get to do this stuff and get away with it. That's not protest, not protected. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. Let's begin. So Bovino is out and Homan is in, and that's supposed to be a very, very big deal. It's supposed to be a major story. Oh my gosh, the biggest.
But I had two very good talks.
You can't believe what it is that this means. And Trump, he's giving in and he's acquiescing. He's talking to the mayor, Jacob Frey.
But I had two very good talks. I had Jacob Frey and I had Governor Walz, and I mean they were great calls. So let's see how they report it. But they were very nice calls, very respectful.
So is there a possibility, President Trump, of some type of compromise? I read that some of the guard will be leaving the state of Minnesota. Some type of compromise to, I guess, make those guys feel like they're in charge. Even though, God help us.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think so. What we need is their criminals. You know, they have criminals, and all I said, just give us your criminals. And if you give us the criminals, it all goes away. They're there to pick up murders. I don't know if you saw, but it was a couple of days ago announced that crime is the lowest in the history of our country, the recorded history of our country.
Wow.
That's a big statement. That's because of us. That's because we go into cities and towns. Usually we're embraced. Sometimes we're not. Chicago is like pulling teeth with Pritzker and with the mayor of Chicago, low IQ person. And usually we're embraced, but sometimes we're not. And when we're not, it just makes it hard.
Makes it much harder. Makes it tremendously harder. When you have people who are more interested in thwarting ICE and supporting illegal immigration and trying to tear down the country than they are in people actually being protected. Now, I forget sometimes if I say hello. Tony Katz, the show is Tony Katz Today. I hope you're staying warm out there. It is very, very cold in major parts of the country, including where I live, and certainly in Minneapolis. But a lot of people want to make a lot out of this switch. Bovino is the chief of Border Patrol. Tom Homan, is the border czar. The switch is, let's call it political. You have two shootings that have taken place, two people killed because of shootings, I should say. And there's massive pressure. And you look at the tactics and people are like, oh, I don't like that. They favor, at least if you were to look at polling, the idea of removing illegal immigrants, but they don't favor what's happening here. Well, what did they think was going to happen? How did they think this was going to go? Did you think the illegal immigrants were just going to give themselves up? And there's been plenty of self-deportations, but did you think that was going to be the case for the criminal element, the violent element? Do you think that was going to be the case for the violent left, attacking ICE agents, attacking where they are in hotels, bloodying ICE officers, biting the fingertips off of ICE officers? Nah, you didn't. Maybe the problem is you're actually witnessing how the sausage gets made. That's a really ugly thing to say, Tony. An ugly thing to say, two people died. I think we should be very wary of that, or very aware of that. We should be very aware of the fact that two people died. One person who did not listen to instructions. One person who put themselves in the mix. And in both cases, I still say investigate, because maybe they're not good shoots. And maybe based on the policies of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, those policies weren't adhered to. And those officers who don't adhere to a policy, if they do not adhere to policy, they have to deal with the consequences. They are not above it, not by any stretch. If you don't want real consequences for your actions, don't be an ICE agent, don't be Border Patrol, don't be law enforcement, work at Dairy Queen. But if we want to talk about having to deal with consequences of actions, those people engaged in violence against ICE agents, tracking ICE agents, trying to intimidate and impede ICE agents, why aren't they in jail? Which is why I say that I do not think the mission should change at all. Although there could be a tactical change, there's often a tactical change in a battle. But if that tactical change does not involve arresting those people who are engaged in violence against ICE agents, we're doing it all wrong. I'll say it again for the people in the cheap seats. Arrest everyone who is in the country illegally and arrest those people engaged in acts of violence against ICE. Do it now. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Do it the next day. Do not stop. Do not stop. The chat room has someone telling me I'm on the wrong side of history. What's the wrong side? First of all, what a silly bit of commentary there. The wrong side of history. That's one heck of a statement that says a whole bunch of nothing. What's the wrong side here? Believing that the law should be applied and upheld? What's the wrong side here? Believing that those people engaged in un-American activities, going not just opposed to what ICE is doing, but violently fighting them, they should somehow be left alone as if they're freedom fighters? They are not. Not in the slightest. Not for a second. No. Maybe it's hard for some people to accept the fact that what we are witnessing from these leftists is not protest. But let me say it again for the people in the cheap seats. It's not protest. It's nowhere near protest. Attacking an ICE officer is not protest. If you think that, you're wrong. Let's break this down a little bit further. I'll say it slower. Protest your government all day. Protest their actions. Unquestionable. March. You go right ahead. Stand on the street corner. Blog or write or create videos. Have concerts. All sorts of things. Physically stop law enforcement from doing their job. Not a protest. And you should be arrested for it. Now, at that moment, if we're not willing to accept the fact there's a difference between protest and physically assaulting an ICE agent, there's no more having a conversation with those people. Those people are willfully ignorant. They don't want conversation. What they want is all or nothing. And I have come to the conclusion that I'm going to give you nothing. You get nothing. What is it? What does it matter what you say? The wrong side of history. You're on the side of attacking ICE agents, you weirdo. I said the shooting should be investigated. And if policy was not followed, those agents are going to have to deal with the consequences, and that could very well include jail time. 1,000%. But you don't get to physically accost ICE agents. You don't get to intimidate. You don't get to pin in their cars so they can't move. You think that's advocating for a police state? What do you think it is these people are doing? The left has decided, do everything we want or we will be violent. Act the way we tell you to, or we will be violent. Don't speak out, or we will be violent. Where do you think the police state is coming from? Who do you think you're kidding with your lines of nonsense? Who do you think this works on? Well, admittedly, it does work on some percentage of the population, but not here. So why do you come at me stronger? But maybe do it without the posturing and without the sloganeering and get into the heart of the matter. You want the illegal immigrant to be able to stay. Say the words. You want the society where there is no law and order, where you do indeed defund the police, and somehow you think everything's going to be all right. We've already proven that that doesn't work. They said, we're going to defund the police, and then they defunded the police, and they said, oh, crap, we defunded the police when we need them, and they refunded the police. The left favors the ICE agent being assaulted. They favor allowing the illegal immigrant to stay. And they favor saying nothing about their side. Only that the right should acquiesce, that the independent and the moderate should acquiesce, that young Americans, Gen Z, should acquiesce to their monstrosity view, their attack view, their violent view. And maybe we shouldn't say anything. We shouldn't speak out, and that way we won't get hurt. That's their argument. That's the society that they want. Protesters can protest. Violent people need to be arrested. And that's what I said. Why aren't we doing that? And that's what I expect from Tom Homan. That's what I want from Tom Homan. I don't expect any change in going after people here illegally. And President Trump says he spoke to Governor Walz and he spoke to Mayor Frey. And I want the people who are here illegally, and we want to get them off the streets. Do I really believe that Frey and Walz are going to work with him? Not for a second. Not a chance do I believe it. Now, they're having some videos about all of a sudden you see Minneapolis' finest on the streets. Well, I'd love to be wrong. That'd be great. That'd be great if they're actually going to do something. But how do they do that? Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, is the guy who said, ICE, get the blank out of Minneapolis. This is the guy who cries over George Floyd. This is a guy who puts out ads in other languages to get voters and kind of endear himself to the Somali community. This is not somebody who is going to be able to turn away from his leftist progressive bona fides and all of a sudden work with law enforcement to get rid of illegal immigrants. Governor Tim Walz? You think Governor Tim Walz is all of a sudden going to be a guy who says, okay, now I'm in. Let's go about getting rid of these terrible people who are in illegally. Yeah, let's go make that happen. The same guy who makes this comparison?
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
The Holocaust Museum has already taken that despicable comment to task. Like this is somehow anyway comparable. The Holocaust and removing illegal immigrants from the United States. But they'll throw anything out there. They don't care about decency. They don't care about the facts. They don't care about history. They don't care. And the more they scream, the more they get angry, the more the trolls come after me, the less it matters. The argument before us is, are we a nation of laws or not? And what the left is saying is, no, we are a nation of emotion. And their emotion is a violent emotion. And they're saying that you should give in to their violence. And if you do, then everything will stop. But there they'll be, ready to be violent if you should even think of disagreeing with them. I say we disagree with them right now. I think that the United States and President Trump and law enforcement and ICE needs to follow the law every step of the way. And we need to ensure that others are following the law. And this has to be our Israel moment to their Hamas. Hamas kills 1,200 Israelis and assumed that Israel would engage some attack, but it would be over soon because the world wouldn't let them keep going. And lo and behold, they went at it for 2 years and finally have every hostage back. Yesterday, for the first time since October 7th, 2023, there were no Israelis captured alive or killed in Gaza. 873 days, I believe it was. It's a long time. The difference with Israel in this response that got everybody all sorts of upset and then they lied about genocide is that they weren't going to stop. They had had enough. Enough of these terrorist low-life scumbags, enough of the people who support them. They're going to suffer. We're going to put an end to this. We're done. pretending we can try. We're done actually trying. The cities around the Gaza envelope that would hire Palestinians and drive into Gaza to pick people up and drive them to work, those were the cities that got slaughtered. Mayors that were working to bring manufacturing to these areas so people in Gaza would have jobs got slaughtered by the people they knew. The Palestinians that were brought here for work and for opportunities, the Palestinians they had befriended, these were the people that gave Hamas all the coordinates and how these kibbutzes were set up and how these communities were set up so the attack could go flawlessly. The Israelis said, we're not putting up with this anymore. And when the world said, okay, now you've got to stop, the Israelis said, no, we're done with these people. I put forth to ICE, to the president, and to you, that our job is not to put up with these radical, violent agitators. Protesters get to protest. The First Amendment belongs to all of us. Those engaged in violence must be arrested on the spot. Those who are pushing against the doors of hotels must be arrested by the hundreds. Don't stop. Not for a second. The left will scream. They'll call you un-American. And they'll call you a fascist. The blah, blah, blah. Shut up. We need to show America that we know how to follow the law and that we will. Were the ICE agents involved in bad shoots? When it comes to Renee Good, I really don't think so, but I'm not a member of ICE, and there might be things and procedures I don't know about. When it comes to Alex Pretti, it doesn't look good. Again, there might be things I don't know about. Investigations have to happen, and people who have not acted properly need to be held to account. That is true of ICE. That is true of the citizen. Violating some basic tenets of the social contract, sure, but engaged in violence to get their political ideology through. We don't do that here. And I don't give a damn if they're happy, and I don't care if people are upset with how I speak. This is what has to happen. No change of policy. Change of tactic is up to you. Arrest every violent person attacking ICE agents and do it now. I'm Tony Katz. Guys, good to be with you. Sorry about the microphone right there. Let me get to some of these comments because some of them are ridiculous. Like this, bootlicker. Schmuck. There, see? We can both do it. Congratulations. We can both engage. You have no future conservative media. Morning host of 93.1 FM WIBC. Syndicated host noon to 3. And appear regularly on cable news. But hey, you might be right. There might be no future in it for me. I don't know. I don't know. Don't quit my day job. This is my day job, Boo Bear. It's pretty awesome. Actually, obviously, there's a difference between riots and protests, but you're acting like every single person there is doing violence. Should people protesting be punished by the agitators? As a matter of fact, I was very clear that protests are protests, and I gave examples of protests. People engaged in violence need to be arrested on the spot. Pretty clear. ICE is the IDF. That's just the kind of thing you write when you've run out of ideas. You are a traitor to the Constitution. I want the laws upheld. You don't. Which one of us is a traitor? Go ahead. Throw another ridiculous statement out there and let's see how laughable it is. Good Lord, son. You are very bad at this. But you got time. You got time. Brother, you're causing division like the left entirely decided this. Wait a second. Who then decided it? You don't want to say the left decided it? Who did? You have Jacob Frey endorsing the violence by not condemning it. You have Tim Walz endorsing the violence by not condemning it. And before you say anything, I was told reliably from your side a decade ago that silence is violence. Don't you dare think you can change the rules. You created the rules. You live up to the rules. You deal with them every single way. Yes, they decided. Democrats saying put your bodies on the line. Democrats saying that you have to fight. Democrats calling these people Nazis and the Gestapo, etc. Yes, I stand by my words 10,000%. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Let me see. Oh, we're coming back to the show. So I've been told a million times that I'm loud. It's because I want to make sure people hear what I say. This is the way I speak. And I've been doing it for years, and the radio shows have been great, and I'm not about to change it because of this. So I understand that it's loud, and sometimes the masculinity is too much for some. I get. Is that not it? No, just loud. Okay. But it's the way I do it, man, and I'm not changing. That's all. But thanks. The United States is done with the World Health Organization. Man, still good things happening out there. I love it. I love it. Tony Katz today. What's going on, everybody? Find everything at TonyKatz.com. The phone number, 833-GOT-TONY. 833-468-8669. Live streaming on YouTube and X. Find it there. Just search for Tony Katz. Tony at TonyKatz.com. Email me. Feel free. We are ending the relationship with the World Health Organization. President Trump last year said the plan was to leave, and now it is done. These organizations, I would argue, as a matter of concept, do create value. Even the United Nations should, as a concept, create a value. But we have seen the World Health Organization in practice. They would not condemn China. They would not condemn their actions. They would not condemn them knowing what was happening with COVID and not telling the world, profiting off of it. They engaged a level of cover-up to support China. Why should someone be in favor of this? They did not favor science. They favored control, especially when it comes to vaccines. And I'm not an anti-vaccine guy. And who must have it and how you have to have it in order to exist. And not saying, listen, we have this thing that's been developed. You'll decide whether you take it. Here's what we know about it. They engaged in no trust of the people around the globe. And I do think it is accurate that the United States does not reward that with our membership, our dollars, or our prestige. We walk away. Let's start another one. Let's try again. Now, will it fall into some issues and leftism and all the rest? Absolutely. Of course. But I don't mind trying, because sometimes when you try something, you end up doing it right. And you're never going to get it right if you don't at least try. Pulling out of the World Health Organization is a good thing. I'm glad we did it. The UN next, please. Because, well, this isn't doing us any good either. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Now, we have got right there Trump 1 year later. Oh, yeah. Now, don't pay attention to that date. The date has changed. The date has moved to February 28th. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. You can get your tickets right now. You can also go to WIBC.com and get your tickets. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Get your tickets right now for Trump 1 year later. It's actually 1 year and 1 month later. The highs, the lows, how we win the midterms. We're going to go over everything. The good stuff, the problematic stuff, because there have been blunders. You better believe it in this first year and a month. And I'll have it all for you where I think we have to go to win the midterms and whether or not the Trump administration, Republicans are really ready to do it, really capable to do it. So I will have all of that for you. Let me go back to the comments here. Actually, can I just grab some stuff that I'm going to need? I don't think Trump is speaking today. It's actually a pretty quiet day. I was checking C-SPAN and there is nothing. The House is in pro forma session. President Trump doesn't have remarks on affordability. He's in Iowa, and that's not until the early evening. So I don't have that to bring to you. I do want to go over Trump in Canada because you knew this was coming. There's nothing surprising about this. Also, I need to talk about Sydney Sweeney's bra. Yeah. Sometimes this show is weird. Sometimes this show is very, very, very weird. There we go. That's that. And I do have 3 more things to get to, but I had something else. Yeah, I'm not doing that story. I already did that. All right. I'm going to do the snow leopard story. And you're like, what is the snow leopard story? I've got it. I've got the snow leopard story for you. And then in the third hour, Major Mike Lyons joins us, retired United States Army, to discuss the purge that's going on in China, what it actually means. But let me go back to the comments. You are a Jewish fascist. Congrats. My mother, upon hearing this, said, "It's nice, but he's not a doctor." There we go. Tony, you act like every right and left wing person thinks the same. No, I don't. Hold on. Now I've been called a filthy liar. It's always good that when there's nothing left to say, you refer to me as the Pillsbury Proud Boy. Wow. That's bravo. And there you are. It just deleted. Just deleted. Oh, goodness gracious. Am I Jewish? Are you Jewish? Yes, I am. This is, yeah, anybody can call in. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. We'll put producer Landon to the test. No problem. Brian, good to see you, man. Glad that you're here. Thanks for coming. How'd this guy get a show? He's a real doofus. How did I get a show? It's a great question. Well, I worked very hard on it. I built my craft. They were going to give it to your mom, but she was too busy on her back, so I ended up with the gig. What? Landon, what? I don't know what I said. That's... Yeah. So I have a series of stories that I want to get to. Usually I leave it for 3 more things that I often, a couple stories that aren't really being talked about. But the story about Trump in Canada, I think, is quite important. Tony Katz today, and it started with President Trump putting out a post on Truth Social where he said, if Governor Carney thinks he's going to make Canada a drop-off port for China to send goods and products into the United States, he is sorely mistaken. Governor Carney, right? Like 51st state. Oh, these things are not ending, people. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. This has to do with some trade deal that Canada signed with China. A lot of people were posting on social media that, Canada has caved to Trump and now they're not going to do the trade deal. No, they're doing the trade deal. And even Trump, when he heard about the trade deal, said, well, listen, Canada's supposed to be signing trade deals, so good for them. Which is the, proper. Of course, other countries are going to be signing trade deals. As a matter of fact, one of the trade deals being looked at right now is the trade deal between India and the European Union, which Prime Minister Modi, has termed or coined as the mother of all deals. I don't know what that means. And the question before us is, are we going to see moves from Trump on tariffs because of a deal that they're making? The Dow, by the way, taking a nice big punch to the face. And as we have all seen, and the data shows that if you want to lie about it, sure. The market can take this big punch and then 2 days later it's back. And right now it's only affecting the Dow. Now there's some other things because Trump has been saying that we're going to keep Medicare rates flat. And so the healthcare stocks are also taking, I think they're down like midday today. They were down like 20%. I don't know where they're going to end because they were hoping to get more dollars. And it turns out that they might not be getting those. But the other one is, how does this deal work and how does it affect global trade? And in a way, does it make Trump angry? And listen, tariffs are taxes and they drive me nuts. Tariffs for a specific purpose, I have no problem with. Tariffs as a generalized principle and philosophy, nope. Not interested. Haven't been interested. I know the people who are all Trump all the time are going to yell at me. I know this, guys. Well, Tony, they've clearly worked. You're not clearly looking. Trump has not had to deal with an inflation issue because of the tariffs, and it is quite incredible. It's incredible. It can't be denied. Economists are like, wait a second. This isn't supposed to happen like this. And we've made the argument here that there's so much investment happening on the AI side, it's countering the issues that the tariffs give. And if the tariffs weren't there in the main, right? You could have specific ones here and there. We would have greater growth. We would see inflation go down. We could see interest rates further go down, which is why when we talk about gold and silver, gold is over $5,000 an ounce, right? It crossed $5,100 an ounce. Silver hit 113. Sorry, that's beyond belief. Beyond anything I could have ever imagined. But it's a hedge against inflation, and it's a real one. It's very, very real. So how Trump handles a deal between the Europeans and India could have a big effect on the market. But what Trump has said to Canada is, don't think you're just going to take Chinese goods and then just send them to us like we're going to buy them. No. That's not going to happen. Not in the slightest. We are not going to allow, in any way, shape, or form, we're not going to allow you to simply utilize a deal with China to abuse us. Now, I think that it's a little bit different. Trump continued that China will eat Canada alive, completely devour it, including the destruction of their businesses, social fabric, and general way of life. If Canada makes a deal with China, it will immediately be hit with a 100% tariff against all Canadian goods and products coming into the USA. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald John Trump. Now, with that, his conversation, his focus was on trade. My conversation and focus has been on the military. What exactly can we accept and not accept in Canada saying that there needs to be some level of New World Order and attaching themselves to China because they're not happy with how trade has worked and the tariff conversation has worked with the United States? Now, for the sake of clarity, I do not believe Canada has reacted 100% improperly to the tariffs from the United States. One of the things I always thought was weird is when people are like, how dare they react or how dare they respond? What do you mean, how dare they react or how dare they respond? It might seem small compared to our economic strength and capability, but they're going to do what they do. They're 1,000% going to do what they do. They're going to say, we have a country, we're going to be proud of it. We're not going to just sit here and take this garbage. They consider it garbage, right? One can understand how they view it. And so a lot of people looked at, for example, the tariffs on bourbon. And, oh, this is why Jim Beam isn't producing bourbon, and this is why the whole industry is falling apart. It isn't. It does make up a small part of it. That you saw the tariffs on bourbon, the bourbon being taken off the shelves. It's not true in every province. It's only true in like 2 or 3 provinces. Other provinces are carrying it. Some people aren't buying it because they're not buying it, and that's that. The real issue with bourbon in the United States has to do with trends here in the U.S. Younger generations not drinking, people had their fill post-COVID, and then a tremendous number of weight loss drugs that have people not interested in drinking. There's a lot of things happening here, and people want to scream, oh, it's all about Trump and the tariffs. They don't look at the subjects like we do. Understand that I host the largest cigar and bourbon review show in the country, radio show in the country called Eat, Drink, Smoke. We get to talk to people. We are studying these things, and to say that it's all just because of Trump is people engaged in their politics and not engaged in reality. I have no interest for those people, and I don't think you should either. But one should look at how Canada's reacted and say, all right, they stood up for themselves. That's what they did. We would do the same. And you know you would. And if the argument is, how dare they stand up for themselves? I'm sorry. That is to not understand human nature, which brings us to Canada and China being chummy in the military. If Canada thinks we are going to let China engage in any military operation or exercise off the Canadian coast, they're out of their minds. The Canadians are out of their heads. And if they want to fight, you got it. Well, Canada is an independent nation. We don't get to say, whoa. Yeah, we do. China's the enemy. They're not welcome in the Western Hemisphere. They cannot be having alliances and allegiances with somebody that we are physically connected to. The answer is no. So there is a place for Canada to say, hey, United States, we're not going to take this crap from you. And there's a place to say, you're going to take any crap I tell you to take because we are the biggest guy on the playground and we're willing to prove it. Some people will see that as abusive. I'm not one of those people. I see that as a full understanding of the threat that is all around us, the threat that comes to us hourly from these people, and the protection of America's future. Canada cannot be engaged in any type of military relationship with China, and the U.S. just sit idly by. That is not going to happen. Not now, not never, not ever. It's not. And the president should push back on that. As for what's going to happen with goods and products into the United States, I guess he's going to raise tariffs. I guess that's coming. And the markets will react as they do, saying we don't like it. And then a couple days later, everything will just go back to the way it was. I'm not paying attention to the trade part of it. I'm paying attention to the military part of it. That's the one to be concerned about. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Yeah. What number should it go to? What's the number? Yep. Yep. Okay. There we go. All right, guys. So here's what happened. You asked about the phone number, and of course, everyone's like, "Oh, he's something nefarious." Our main station, which is WIBC in Indianapolis, it moved. We moved a physical building, and in doing so, we changed, of course, studios. And what changed? Phone numbers. So the number I used to forward to, is it ringing now, Producer Landon? So where we used to call is no longer the number we call. I never updated it on the 800 number. I didn't realize they had changed the numbers in that regard. Okay, so that's still not going through. I have it in there. Text me the number again, make sure I have it right. And let me make sure I'm doing this right. I think I've got it right. Might take a second to update. Yeah, that's what I've got. Oh, it is. Oh, using that number, it is going through? You see, I don't care if we give out that number. It's fine. It's a number. It's what it's there for. So there it is. And even if I edit it, 12 to 3. Yeah, I've got that right. Oh, come on. But I can give out the main number, can't I? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Right? It is not 8675309. But Jenny, I have her number. Senator Chris Van Hollen, he has thoughts, the Democrat from Maryland, on ICE and our safety.
Now, Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat from Maryland. Senator, thank you so much for being with us. So Bovino is out. Homan is in. President Trump is talking with Governor Walz and Mayor Fry. Allegedly, there are some changes happening on the ground there. More and more Republican senators are coming forward and members of Congress saying they want an independent investigation. How satisfied are you with what's been happening?
Tom, I'm not satisfied because what we need is permanent changes with respect to how ICE and the Border Patrol folks conduct themselves. And that will require reining in ICE as well as the Border Control folks. And it also means creating a system for accountability. We need accountability in this particular case, in both cases in Minnesota where we've seen killings. But we also need an ongoing commitment to make sure that there's accountability. The problem we've seen is that these agents are essentially being told from the White House by people like Steve Miller, people like Secretary Noem, people like President Trump, that they can go out and kill Americans.
No, they're not. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. That's not it. Noem had a 2-hour meeting with Trump. There is no indication that Trump is going to fire her. I will say this. I would argue that the immediate on the shooting of Alex Pretti, of saying that he was there to engage in mass murder of ICE agents, it hit people very much the wrong way. Like, whoa. We don't know what's going on. And for 5 seconds, you're already doing this. Now, the argument should be, well, this is what the left does. Immediately paint the picture, call ICE agents this, that, and the other. And that's how you set a narrative. And so you saw this with Renee Good, domestic terrorist. Can we take 5 minutes to find out what happened? Nope. Boom. Calling it. And I said, interesting that they're going right for the narrative set, which is an interesting take and an interesting way to do these things. But you got to understand that sometimes that doesn't work. And the people on the political right, they're not the people who buy into those things. And so that's the issue. Noem, is she in the hot seat? I have no reason to think that she is. No matter, when you see the left saying Noem needs to resign and Tom Homan needs to resign, the political left are the people who let Alejandro Mayorkas be the Secretary of Homeland Security, not keep the border safe, and lie every single day that the border was secure and more secure than ever. It was a lie. And then the House impeached him, and the Senate under Chuck Schumer refused to have a trial. So I don't listen to them when they say this one has to go or that one has to go. It's just what they say. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. But I do recognize reality. And the push for calling him a potential murderer and mass murderer, man, it was a miss. You didn't connect there. Give us data. Give us facts. Show us what has been happening, what's going on, where he's connected to, how he's connected, etc. So what was the talk about? I don't know how they are going to deal with this in a PR way, how they want to change tactics, if they want to change tactics. But I'll say it again. Tom Homan is in, Greg Bovino is out, and I don't think anything changes. The arrests still come. And I think that you got to move the violent out of there immediately. I'm Tony Katz. All right, so let's try this again. Try this with everybody here. Let's see. Let's see if I figured this out. Anything ringing? Oh, look at that. It works. Go ahead. Talk.
Hey, Tony Katz, can you hear me?
I sure can. And now everybody can hear you. That's awesome. I just hung up on you. Okay. So that's what happened. So now it's working. 833-468-8669. 833 got Tony. And as for Stars Fire, am I saying it right? Don't be angry. I didn't lie through my teeth. None of that happened. It's the number. I've been giving out this number for forever. We moved. I didn't realize they had a new number that I had to connect to. I just changed it. Could you not be so angry? You want to call me a coward? Do you feel better? Great. Great. But it didn't help. It was just you being angry and not able to control your emotions. I've been there. Practice it. Try. Try. Yes, I have noticed that all of a sudden the left supports the Second Amendment. I have indeed noticed this, which is why I got so bothered with the political right saying, how dare he bring a gun with him? Why was he carrying a gun? No, why did he get involved with ICE agents and why was he pushing back, etc.? Why was he carrying a firearm? Because he's an American citizen. And we get to do that here. So that's not the issue. And I think that was handled very, very wrong. So here's what we got. We have the radio show in break, so we're going to take the break right now. I really do appreciate everybody who's here, whether they, agree or disagree, right? That's cool. I'm no problem with it whatsoever. Ask good questions, say smart things, say funny things. Dopey stuff gets deleted. Yes, it is fixed because I just tried them. So you can try them. 833 got Tony. 833-468-8669. Now, my only problem is we haven't fixed this yet, especially with the move. I can't bring the station into the live stream. That feed doesn't happen yet. So I will kind of repeat the question, but the radio audience will get it. The live stream audience won't. That I hope to have fixed in the month of February. Right? It's not like I have someone here who's the call screener and then feeds it in, etc. So just so you know, you might not hear it on the live stream, but you'll hear it on the radio side. And then later, what I can do is I can take that audio and put it into a video I create from the live stream. So it all comes together. Fancy. So we will take the radio break. And we'll go from there, right? So hang loose, smoke them if you got them, and we will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. So in the rare moments I open up the phone lines, it's not just, some people are like, hey, I'd like to ask a question. I'd like to talk about this. It's just people being trolling and ridiculous. That stinks for producer Landon. I feel for him. I absolutely feel for him right there. But that's what he has to deal with. But you don't have to talk to trolls. You just hang up on them. It doesn't matter. Does not matter at all. You're not having fun with that, Landon? Yeah. Oh, who was she? Oh, she was rude? Oh, Surefire, you were rude? You're gone. You're gone. Oh, yeah. I am not a soothsayer. So I cannot tell you what exists in the hearts of men. I cannot tell you what they believe or what they don't believe when they say it. Are they being honest? I have no way of knowing whether Jimmy Kimmel, the host of his late night show of the same name on ABC, is honest or not when he talks about the death of Alex Pretti, shot by ICE as he interfered with an ICE operation.
If that was ISIS instead of ICE, we'd be firing missiles at somebody and pledging allegiance to the flag altogether right now. Watch that video. Watch every angle, as upsetting as it might be, and decide for yourself if that's making America great. And if it isn't, please say something about it. This has to stop. And I'm convinced now that the only people who can stop it are on the right. I know it takes a lot of courage to go against your tribe or whatever it is, but that's what we need. We need some decent people on the right to show some courage and some common sense.
Let me ask you, Jimmy, are you asking something of the same political right that you have been belittling, attacking, and shaming for years now? Now all of a sudden we're one country. Now all of a sudden, yes, there are good people on the right. I thought we were all fascists and Nazis and bootlickers. That's what your party says. That's what you say. When you lie about who it is that assassinated Charlie Kirk and then get angry at us for noticing, now it's because we don't have courage and we need it to do what? To stop the violence against ICE agents? We want the violence stopped against ICE agents. To do what? To continue to engage in the arrest of illegal immigrants who have violated our laws? We want to do this. What exactly are you referring to? The shooting of Alex Pretti? Well, let's discuss that. Tony Katz today. Guys, great to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Live streaming on the YouTubes. You can check it out for yourself. Be happy to have you here on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Tony Katz and subscribe. Speak more, Jimmy Kimmel.
And if our leaders aren't even trying to reduce the amount of chaos in the street rather than exacerbating it, if our leaders are intentionally creating and encouraging violence and fear, then I hope you will also agree we need new leaders. Because
on the right or on the right and the left, Jimmy? Peggy Flanagan wants to incite violence, the lieutenant governor. Tim Walz, the governor, has wanted to incite violence. Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, have wanted to incite violence. It is Peggy Flanagan who said, put your body on the line. It is Tim Walz who not only joked about Trump dying, but compared those members of ICE to Nazis. And it is Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, who said, hey, ICE, get the blank out. And this violence has been going on for days, for weeks, nay, for months. And where is the Democratic Party leadership to say, stop it? We've been saying, stop it. You're right. The leadership should speak up. So when people like John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, the senator, says he supports ICE, he doesn't like these actions, but he supports ICE and he doesn't want to defund them, the left wants to vilify him, and the left wants to ensure that he loses his primary. How do you square the circle? The violence is coming, Jimmy Kimmel, from inside the House. Not because I said so, but because it is. So when you say we must tone down the rhetoric, you first. And where is the call specific to your leadership? The same people who pass you notes about health care, like Chuck Schumer, to say, tone down the rhetoric. Where is that? Let's go back to Jimmy Kimmel.
These are not leaders. And to the people of Minneapolis, to the Pretti family and the Good family, and these people who were looking out for their neighbors, we want you to know that we are with you and you are not alone.
I have no way of knowing if his tears are genuine or fake. I don't know. What I know is that I do not believe that Renee Good or Alex Pretti were standing up for their neighbors. And I do reject the premise. What I also know is that there was no public pronouncement that I can recall from Jimmy Kimmel for Laken Riley. Not a one. Not a single public pronouncement took place for Irina Zarutska, who was stabbed to death in a light rail car in Charlotte. And she died afraid as her attacker loomed over her. And when he walked away, no one came to her aid. No one came to help her. No one stood up for their neighbor. She slowly bled out and slumped over in a light rail car. And the media forgot about her as quickly as they could. I do not know if Jimmy Kimmel's tears are real. And I'm not so sure I get to judge that. But I can notice, as clear as I can notice anything else, that his tears are indeed selective when it comes to the public. These people were standing up for their neighbors. That's an opinion that I do not follow or track. Aren't those of us who support ICE and support the arrest of illegal immigrants standing up for our neighbors? Because we don't want them to end up like Laken Riley. We don't want them to end up like Irina Zarutska, even though that person wasn't here illegally. We don't want it. And we want to do something about it. And we voted in an election to vote for someone who would do something about it because the Biden administration would not do anything about it. They told us everything was fine. They told us they needed special laws in order to do anything. They gaslit America for 4 years. And only when they realized this might hurt in an election where Joe Biden was incompetent and then could not even run, did they pretend to do something about it, and it wasn't enough. How dare Jimmy Kimmel make the assumption, and I do believe he's making the assumption, that only the left cares about their neighbors. It is just the opposite. The right believes only the right cares about their neighbors. Who else would allow people into the country illegally? People who are not vetted, people who are not checked, some of whom are indeed incredible criminals, violent people. Why in the world do we not understand what President Trump is saying when he says that they have quite literally emptied out their asylums and their jails of the worst and sent them our way? And we should still deal with Mexico with far more strength because they allowed it to happen. Jimmy Kimmel has absolutely no luck on morality and decency. And I have no idea of whether or not his tears are real. What I know is that they're selective. And I'm not interested in being a society of selective tears. We should be bothered. We should say this is madness, this violent approach to ICE. And we can say quite clearly, without any hesitation, that if there was no violence towards ICE, Renee Good and Alex Pretti would still be alive, at least from the instances in that we saw them in. Places where they put themselves. People want to keep pretending that that doesn't matter. The people who want to do that are the people who want the violence. And Jimmy wants to look to leaders to tone that down. The leaders have been fomenting it. They want it. Isn't it obvious? They want it. They didn't tone it down in the George Floyd riots. They aren't toning it down now. They want it. Could you imagine what we would be seeing if it wasn't winter in Minneapolis? What? You know I'm right. Everybody knows I'm right. If it wasn't winter in Minneapolis, the violence would be off the charts. The setting fire to police stations would be an hourly occurrence, not because I want it to be that way, but because it would be that way, and everybody knows it. You do not come across as credible when you cry for Alex Pretti and not for Laken Riley. You don't come off as credible when you say to the families of Good and Pretti, we're thinking of you and you're not alone. And you don't say that to any mom who has lost their child to an illegal alien rapist and murderer. It's hard for any of us to think, Jimmy Kimmel, that you believe it. It's hard. But in case you do, in case you really are shedding tears for these two, which you have every right to, note that it is upsetting that you don't shed them for everybody else. Now, if you ask me why I'm not crying, well, I'm a man who can handle my emotions. Sometimes I have my moments, certainly with family. My youngest announced that he got into college just a little while ago. And we knew it was a fait accompli and a foregone conclusion, but it's taking a unique path. And it's just very cool. And if you want to see me cry, knowing that my youngest has developed an idea of self and creating a path, no knowledge of whether or not it'll work, but it's worth a shot and I'm young enough. So let's go do the thing and find out. Oh, I'll spend the rest of the show in tears and it'll be great. But you're selective, Jimmy. And that's just as political as anything else. Don't sit there and tell us that somehow you're this good guy who's doing the right thing and is on the right side. Being on the side of supporting the continuation of illegal immigration is not good. Being on the side of thinking that ICE shouldn't be able to do their job without being physically assaulted, not good. Tears for Pretti and Good. And not for, well, do I start giving a list? I don't know if that's said good or not good, but it's certainly selective and certainly smacks politically. ICE should not stop. ICE should remove every illegal immigrant, and all of those engaged in violence against ICE agents should be arrested and prosecuted, including those who have supported them materially or otherwise, whether they are elected or not. And let's not see any more deaths caused by the violent people engaging in violent acts. That would be great. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. So now we've got Trump on the record speaking to the press that Kristi Noem is not going to step down, and the investigation into Pretti is going to continue. It won't surprise me at all if some officers are let go, reassigned, whatever the story might be there. Would not surprise me in the slightest if that's the way he goes with it. Not at all. So we do have some callers, and I will take them. I know callers, right? It is the weirdest show. I host the weirdest show. I do the thing. I'm not caller dependent. I know, but I like to prove every now and again that I can, just to prove that I'm a real boy. Yeah, so you could argue, Beth, and it's good to see it. You can't fire her, meaning Kristi Noem, for doing nothing wrong. You know that people get fired just because there's an optics story. There is. I just don't believe there is an optics story. The anger of the left and the anger of media is not necessarily the anger of America. And Republicans saying, hey, what is going on here, is different than saying someone should be fired. It is. And there could be changes made. And we continue. Honestly, I wouldn't even know how to make those changes. It's not the world in where I live. I could say, okay, here's what I'd like to see. Now tell me about what the law is and tell me about what can and can't be done, right? That's the way I would do it if I was president of the United States, because I could engage that way. But what would law enforcement tell me? Well, that's going to be the question. So no, I don't think this leads to the firing of Noem at all. It could lead to the reassignment of some agents, possibly someone getting fired if something was done in an egregious manner. Let's bring it back to the show. President Trump speaking to the press just moments ago outside of the White House, talking about the investigation into ICE's actions in Minneapolis.
Do you believe that Alex Pretti's death was justified?
Well, you know, we're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it.
I want a very honorable and honest investigation, a very big investigation I want to see. I think that the people who think that Trump will gloss over this, I don't think they understand the guy. I really don't think they understand the president. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Rare but true. I go to the phones. My gosh. Sometimes I go to the phones just to prove that I'm real, right? That this is all happening in real time. Brad, welcome to the show. Brad, what's going on? You tell me. You called me. What can I do for you? Well, that would be a uniparty conversation. But really quick, when you're talking about the fraud, you're talking about like the daycare centers in Minnesota and home health care in Maine, et cetera. Is that what you're referring to? Okay. Well, first, I appreciate the phone call, Brad. Anytime you remind America that this fraud has happened and we haven't dealt with it, I think it's the right thing to do. Because this fraud has happened and it's the right thing to do. We need to know and we need to find out what happened with these millions, if not billions of dollars that went to these daycare centers run by Somali nationals or people from Somalia who are now Americans, how they were able to make these deals take place and where the money went. There are reports that money was from U.S. taxpayers ended up in Somalia supporting Al-Shabaab, right? The terrorist organization, to the tune of $1 million a day moving through the Minneapolis airport. $1 million a day. And you thought the Lufthansa heist was something. This is amazing. Who's going to jail? Now, admittedly, there have been arrests and there have been convictions. Not enough, because what you're, I think, asking, Brad, which I think is the right question, what politicos were involved? And do we see that everybody could get a little taste of something, and did it go both sides? I don't have the answer to that question, and I must tell you, I don't care. Fraud was taking place. Who signed off on the fraud? Who looked the other way on the fraud? Jail time. Who got a taste? Who got a piece? Who got an envelope? Who got a something? Jail time. And it's not just Minneapolis. In Maine, what they are uncovering is massive. Washington State, of course, California. And I'm willing to bet you any amount of money that all 50 states have this issue. And if we actually uncovered all of the fraud, the amount of money that we are being bilked for as American citizens would be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. What happens when we find that money? What happens when that money is no longer going to these illicit causes? When these people are in jail and we find out we don't need as much money to run our government as we thought. We can get it back? We're going to start paying down debt? what are our opportunities at that moment? I agree that no one has moved fast enough to uncover this. I want what you want. This is Tony Katz today. I appreciate the call, Brad, and yes, for people in the chat, you do not get to hear the caller. Now we're working on that, right? I've never had to deal with it before, but the moment has come, the time has come, and the live stream is growing, and we're working on some things. So I got to bring that in. I absolutely have to bring that in, and there's no other way to do it, because like I could do it here, but I wouldn't be able to call screen here, and you have to 10,000%. You absolutely have to call screen in every way. So with that, we're gonna try. We're gonna figure out how to do it. We just moved, as you know, we moved stations, and we need we need them to get settled. And I must admit, I don't think it's settled yet. I don't think that studio is set. Are things settled, Producer Landon? I'm asking you. I didn't ask what they say. Yeah. I don't think so either. I do not think they are settled either. So. Oh, was that the Spire one? She was cursing? Well, then she doesn't get to call in. She's if you want to be that angry, I can't stop you, but I sure as hell don't have to talk to you. No. Why in the world would I talk to you if you're going to be like that? Sounds silly to me. Anyway, let us get back to this. Wait a second. Is there a meetup going on for the event? And is there a meetup going on for Trump 1 year and 1 month later and I wasn't invited? What the hell is this? What? Landon, what the hell's going on? I'm throwing the party, and people are going to have a pre-party, and I wasn't even invited. It is like kickball all over again. Good gosh. That's cool that you're having a meetup. That's fun. That's pretty awesome. I like that. There's this. I got that. There's this. There, and we'll do this, and yeah, wow, check that out. All right, I guess I'm going. And yep, let's make sure I got everything together here. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Only room for one Tony at the pre-party? Okay. All right. I see the way you are. I am never lifting a TV again. That's over. Oh, wow. This guy's super angry. Oh, look, he just got dropped out of the chat. That's too bad. Oh, poor baby. I hope he's going to be all right. Yeah. Three more things. Oh, I have got stories for you, things that need to be discussed but aren't making the front page. Tony Katz today. First, President Trump speaking in front of the White House just a few moments ago about Kristi Noem.
Yeah, I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure. You know, you forget. we had a border that I inherited where millions of people were coming through. Now we have a border where no one is coming through. They come into our country only legally. So you have to remember those things. You know, people forget as soon as you accomplish something, it goes into history and nobody ever wants to talk about it. We had a border that caused all of this problem. Biden caused, and the Democrats caused this problem. They allowed tens of millions of people to come in. Many of them were murderers. Many were drug dealers, drug addicts, people from mental institutions. They allowed these people to violate our country, to come into our country. And that's what we're talking about. So if you remember, we had a horrible border, the worst border we've ever had, ever in history. People were flowing through by, we think, 25 million people, not to mention drugs and everything else. And that border is absolutely closed.
And it is. So, you know, in any time you hear a full-throated defense, you understand that all politics is local. And if the president should decide that he wants to replace Kristi Noem, he will. This commentary notwithstanding. That is true. Meanwhile, there's the possibility of a government shutdown, as Democrats have now said, well, we can't fund the government now. If you're going to fund ICE, ICE must be defunded. We won't give them any money, and we'll shut it down again. Okay. If you want to do that, if you want to go down that road, you're more than welcome to give it a try. They've already started teeing things up. Susan Collins, who's the chair of Senate Appropriations, started moving things forward. It's a 6-bill funding package. And John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, said, I'm voting for this. I want to change ICE topics or ICE tactics, or I might want to change this and ICE and that ICE, but I'm not defunding it. Absolutely not. I am voting for it. So Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, they are against the broader package, which includes the Homeland Funding bill. And Senate Democrats are trying to mobilize the opposition and figure out a way to get this out. If they have to shut things down again, they will. They think that this is a winner. But Fetterman is saying, I'm not going to be part of a shutdown. I'm going to vote for this, and that's it. That's all that's going to happen. Now, what really comes from this is the conversation about ending the filibuster. Is this where the Republicans now say, you know what? You people, you're ridiculous people. We end the filibuster and we just start getting things passed with 51 votes. And even at 50-50, we've got the tie break. We win, you lose, 'twas never thus. We're going to move forward. This was a conversation with President Trump during the first shutdown. And I said the president was wrong. Absolutely wrong. In order to end the filibuster, right? Ending the filibuster means you do not have the 60-vote threshold anymore. 60 votes to open debate, 60 votes to close debate, and then bring it to a vote. That is referred to as cloture, C-L-O-T-U-R-E. If you eliminate the filibuster, you eliminate this need, and things just go to votes. You don't have to worry about opening debate, closing debate. No. Boom! Right to the vote. As I understand filibuster, that's what we're talking about here. Yes, Republicans can do this because everybody understands that Democrats absolutely will do this the second they have power. My argument was, during the first shutdown, was that if you are going to remove the filibuster, end the filibuster, you must now have a plan. What is the plan? Now that you've done this, you have to know the legislation you want to get passed. You have to know the whip count, where you are with the votes. You have to be able to hold a very, very fragile majority in this case, and you have to be able to move with speed. A plan has to be in place. And I put forth to you that the Republican Party has no plan. They have ideas. They have legislation that I would approve of, but they don't have what I just laid out, a system and the people to engage the system and follow the system and make sure there are no hiccups along the way. And until you have that, I don't want to hear the rest. Until you're ready to deal with this like you should, we're going to get rid of the filibuster, and then here's the 8 things we're getting done. Boom, 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 boom. That was 8, by the way. I counted it out. Nope. Absolutely not. And of course, what the Democrats are saying is the responsibility to prevent the partial government shutdown is on Leader Thune and Senate Republicans. If Leader Thune puts those 5 bills on the floor this week, we can pass them right away. If not, Republicans will again be responsible for another government shutdown. No one blames Republicans for the first one. And like many shutdowns, it gets forgotten. Maybe not by the people who didn't get paid, but by everybody else it did. And as I said in the first shutdowns, Democrats lost the shutdown, but they won the larger war because they won in New Jersey and they won in Virginia. There's no election right now. There's only Democrats saying, we do not want to support removing illegal immigrants. Then there is the story of these anti-American Marxist zealots who tried to stop Christians from praying, helped by Don Lemon, who absolutely should be charged. Some of them were charged. Some of them were arrested. I only hope they go to jail. But these people want to claim that they were just so peaceful and they were so nice and they were just standing up for their neighbors. They weren't peaceful and they weren't nice and they were screaming and yelling and intimidating. They're disgusting. Well, now there is a write-up about how these agitators were blocking the stairs. And as the story goes, victim 4 informed agents that members of their parish attempted to retrieve their children from the childcare area located downstairs, but the agitators were blocking the stairs and the parents were unable to get to their children. Victim 4 recalled one agitator was threatening, aggressive, and intimidating toward parishioners. Additionally, this agitator was screaming and getting in people's faces, to include women and children. The agitator continued to scream in the faces of young children while they were crying. It's at this moment, I must say again, how I disagree with turn the other cheek. I'm not going to get Christians not to be Christian. And that's not my want. I am going to get my child and you stand in my way. I don't care what happens next. Do you? Is it really different when you're in this situation? You're in my way. You're going to stop me from getting to my kid? Nah. No. Whatever I have at my disposal, I'm going to utilize to move you out of the equation and get my kids. But this is an example of exactly what kind of people you were dealing with. Oh, they were just expressing themselves and engaging their First Amendment rights. No, they weren't. This is what Don Lemon supports. I mean, what a filthy guy. What an absolutely terrible person. He supports keeping parents from their kids. That's who he is. And then he wants to talk about being pious. And if you say anything about him, it's because he's gay and it's because he's black. Don, it's not because you're gay or black. It's because you're a jerk. You're a pompous, elitist, self-righteous scumbag. You helped lead this. You should be in jail for it. And I don't care if you like me. Screw you. And if Don Lemon was trying to keep me from getting to my kids, Lord only knows what would happen to Don Lemon or anybody else. I mean, what kind of society is it? Where you think it's okay, where someone thinks it's okay, not you. Because of their anger, you don't get to be near your children? Can't wait till America hears more about that. And let me lighten it up here. It's something I don't often get a chance to do. But when I do get the chance, I do like to bring it to you right here. I think I've got it. I think I've got it set. Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is.
Your car's seatbelt. Safety miracle or decapitation nightmare?
What is the connection between rain and farming? The answer may surprise you.
Heroin, sex, machine guns, flamethrowers, murder. There's no story here. We've just found that ratings go up when we say those words.
It's time for the worst headline of the day.
Skier suffers brutal mauling after stepping within 10 feet of snow leopard for photo. What is wrong with people? This is a horrifying story. This woman is skiing. This woman wants to take a picture of a snow leopard. It's a snow leopard, which the operative word here is leopard. And she's like, oh, how cute. Let me take a photo. That's at least how the story goes. And she walks up to the leopard. She's like these people who are in a national park and they'll walk like up to a bison or a moose and not think that they're going to be charged. They'll be like, hey, let me get this picture with this bear. It's just a bear. What is that, brown? Oh, that means it's safe. And she got really damaged. She was really hurt. And not only did she get attacked, mauled, as they say, the leopard didn't leave. She's just laying in the snow. They had to wait for the leopard to move before they could get to this woman. Certifiable. It's nature. And nature wants you to die. So would you please be just somewhat smart and somewhat safe? That'd be fantastic. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. This is nuts. This is nuts. You won't believe it when I share it with you. There's no way to believe this. What CNN is reporting right now? Well, you won't believe. You can't believe it. And I'm going to hear it just like you are. I've only got the little bits of the story. Holy cow. How soon till we're back, producer Landon? Okay, so we're back in a minute 15. Because I was going to get into the whole Sydney Sweeney story. I'll save that for the next hour. It has to do with her bra. Actually, it has to do with bras, plural. Plural of bra is bras. It is not bra'ai, bra'im, or bra'ot. It is. And those would be, the im and the ot would be the Hebrew ways of doing plural. It bras is what it would be. You won't believe it. It's about Alex Pretti. It is CNN reporting it. You will not believe it. You can't. And then you'll go, oh yeah, I totally believe it. It'll be one of those. And thank you to everybody who has been subscribing there on YouTube. Growing great, nice pace. And can't thank you guys enough. And been so supportive of the videos and the shorts and everything else. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Come back in 25 seconds. Steven, no operating heavy machinery. Oh, no. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your mind. And yes, I know that the mobile chat is filled with leftist trolls. It's just, I see it all in one. I don't have them separated. So I was going to take this moment to talk about Sydney Sweeney's bras, which is not something I ever expected to say on this show. I mean, it wasn't totally unexpected, but still. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. And how she tried to put them on the Hollywood sign, and now it's possible she's engaged in a crime for doing so. I'll get to it on the radio side in the next hour. But no, I'm sorry. Sydney Sweeney's bra got bumped right off the front page here because CNN is reporting that Alex Pretti, the man shot and killed by ICE, who got engaged with ICE and was tracking ICE, and we've been discussing it here, he had a run-in with ICE a week before where he got a broken rib.
CNN is learning that Alex Pretti had a physical encounter with federal agents about a week before he was shot and killed by law enforcement. Sources tell CNN that Pretti broke a rib when a group of federal officers tackled him while he was protesting. Priscilla Alvarez is breaking that story for us. What else are you hearing, Priscilla?
Protesting? Fighting? What happened?
Dana, we're learning more details along with my colleague Jeff Winter about what exactly transpired a week before Alex Pretti was shot in Minneapolis and died this past weekend. Now, in this earlier incident, he stopped his car after observing ICE agents chasing what he described as a family on foot and began shouting and blowing his whistle. Pretti later told one of these sources that 5 agents tackled him and one leaned on his back, appearing to leave him with a broken rib. According to this source, and I'm quoting here, that source said, quote, that day he thought he was going to die. Now, Pretti was later given medication that is consistent with treating a broken rib, according to records reviewed by CNN. Sources also say that he was known to federal law enforcement, though it's unclear whether it was this incident or another with federal agents that they knew of him. It's also unclear.
What do you mean they knew of him? What do you mean they knew of him? So he had agitated before? He had tried to impede ICE before? Was there a physical encounter that he started with ICE, or was he just randomly tackled? In every moment, the left is telling you a story. Remember, they told you that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, and they told you everything they said about COVID was real. Take a moment, take a breath, give it time, and you will find that the truth eventually reveals itself. This might change a lot of people's opinions. Might not still let some ICE agents off the hook, but it lets you know what it is they're up against. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. I want to hear the rest of this. You guys all right with that? Just want to hear the rest of this report, because I'm hearing it for the first time, just like you.
Whether the officers who tackled him on Saturday knew who he was. What we do know, however, is that federal immigration officers have been collecting personal information of protesters and agitators within the context of what the Department of Homeland Security has warned is repeated threats towards officers as they are conducting immigration enforcement operations. In fact, just Tuesday, the department also publicized an online tip form to share information about people allegedly harassing ICE officers. We've also heard Tom Homan, the White House border czar, say that a database would be created for those who are arrested for impeding law enforcement. But thus far, in our queries to the Department of Homeland Security, they have said that no such database exists.
So we have to now get information about, was this guy involved with other incitement against ICE? How so? How did a broken rib occur? And I think it was Pete who brought up this point in the chat. Let me see if I can find it. I'm with you. Not having any other information except what was presented right there. Are you telling me that a guy with a broken rib? Here it is. If I had a broken rib, I wouldn't be out on the street a week later. How? I'm with you. I have questions. But he was known to ICE. Exactly what does that mean? Known to ICE. Oh, and really quick, let's get to this, because this nasty guy. This is about the Second Amendment. Listen to me carefully. You absolute lemming. I am the guy on this show who said you can carry a firearm anywhere you like. Your Second Amendment rights don't end because law enforcement is there. I said that here. If you had taken just 1 minute to go back and listen to anything I had said, 1 minute, not to think of yourself so virtuous and righteous as to write things like that, you would have spared yourself a lot of embarrassment. But luckily for me, I get a lot of content. And now I get the pleasure of just blocking you as a user. These people just want to be angry, and they don't ever think before they act. Foolish, if you ask me. Very, very foolish. Guys, I appreciate you like you wouldn't believe. I want to see you. I want to see you here. Trump, 1 year later, the highs, the lows, how we win the midterms. I'm sorry, 1 year and 1 month later. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to open up the VIP again, and then we're gonna get you showing up. And we are going to have a great time. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets. Tickets.tonykatz.com. February 28th, not January 24th. February 28th, I'll get the new graphic up tomorrow. And I cannot wait to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe there on YouTube. Go and subscribe and be a part of that. And guys, I appreciate you tremendously. The radio show continues at WIBC.com, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care. Oh gosh, that's right. I'm in travel tomorrow. Oh, don't worry. I'll have some videos going. Don't worry. I'll get some things happening. Guaranteed. Talk to you later. Subscribe.